I'd like to call to order the public hearing for the Lafayette Common Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we will start the meeting, and the meeting will end by 6 o'clock. Each person will have 3 minutes to talk. If you already spoke at the first public hearing, please wait and let other people speak before you come up. But I think we're going to have plenty of time, that if you want to speak the second time. When you come up, please state your name and address. Okay, and then we have...
Yep, I will go over some of the details of the ordinance as it's currently drafted. It does provide that a person can have no more than 5 hens. Roosters are prohibited. Chickens must be housed in a coop that has at least 1 square foot of space per chicken. However, we are looking at whether or not that potentially should be increased based on some feedback from the last meeting. It also must have a pen with at least 2 square feet per chicken with some type of wire, aviary netting, or solid roofing for containment purposes. The proposed ordinance also has setback requirements from neighboring properties and houses in an effort to have harmonious relations between neighbors. And then finally, it does require that the chicken flock cannot create a public nuisance. So we did build in, if for whatever reason a flock was creating a nuisance, then animal control in the city would address that. So those are the highlights of the currently drafted ordinance.
Okay, so we'll start the public hearing. Remember, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes, and please be respectful and civil to everyone in this room. Okay, who'd like to go first?
Oh. Good friend. Christine Poquette, 2301 Bennett Road. Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Christine Poquette. Thank you again for your time and consideration for the proposed modification of the ordinance on hens in our community. Last month when I spoke here, I shared with you how intelligent, quiet, docile, and useful hens are, and how they make an excellent pet for people from all backgrounds and incomes. I spoke of how they're a unique pet. Not only do they recognize and have the ability to connect with people, but they provide us with nature's multivitamin with 13 essential vitamins and minerals. The full potential of the incredible edible egg is through hens receiving fresh air, sunshine, and a varied diet from our own backyards. I shared with you 10 Indiana cities, including those with an ordinance in place, with 0 to minimal issues or complaints, according to the officers, animal control directors, law enforcement employees who work or have worked in Carmel, Indianapolis, Bloomington, South Bend, and West Lafayette for years. Not only do cities big and small in Indiana have ordinances, but also 93% of the largest cities in America, including Seattle, Denver, Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Milwaukee, Miami, Cleveland, and Boston. With all this said and done, at the end of the day, this is about fresh, affordable eggs. This is about kids off screens and raising their food source. This is about giving hens a far better life than factory farming. This is about fertilizer for our yards and gardens. This is about minimizing ticks and mosquitoes in our yards. And this is backyard hens. A majority of cities in the country are doing this successfully. Let's please join them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Okay, next.
Hello, my name is Lynn Nelson. I live at 1308 South 24th Street. And my son and daughter-in-law had chickens when they were in Indianapolis. They were both doing schooling or in college while having 3 young children. And the chickens helped them to provide a very healthful source of protein that was very affordable for them. And I think with the economy and how society is right now, affordable sources of good, healthy food is something to be seriously considered and as you look at this ordinance. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Another person would like to make a public comment?
My name is Sarah Goins. I am the Chief Animal Control Officer for Lafayette. While I'm not a resident of Lafayette, myself and my department are in support of this. We think that it's good on many different levels, but I don't see it causing any added workload or stress to myself or my officers. Several of us have experience with chickens, so we'll be able to help educate people as well if we get to that point. But I just thought it would be important that someone who will be dealing with this, interacting with this, just wanted to let the community know that we're in support of it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Audie Porter, and I grew up in West Lafayette and went to CC, and now I live on the south side near McCutcheon. So we have hens because we are outside. We're in the county. We have 5 kids and a dog and 11 chickens. Mostly it's just, the eggs are amazing. I mean, my husband eats 4 eggs every day. I eat 3. My kids all eat eggs. So it's already within less than a year, recouped the cost of building the coop and run and stuff. So it's very beneficial cost-wise. It's a really fun and funny learning experience for my kids. Even my little 1-year-old takes the basket and goes to get the eggs. Yeah, they're very quiet. They're very funny. They are, the kids want to come home after school every day and go check the coop. And it's about a 10-minute job to take care of them every day, just food and water and getting the eggs. My husband scoops the coop every week or 2, and it's really not too much of a dirty job if you're just taking care of them nicely. Definitely reduces our grocery costs, and it creates a nice little ecosystem in our yard. We feed the chickens our food scraps. They eat the pests and bugs. We use their eggs. We crush them and feed them back, and they have calcium, and we use that in our garden to protect against slugs. We compost the manure and the bedding for our garden, and overall, I'm just very excited and happy that we have the chickens and hens, and I believe that it would be wonderful for all the people in Lafayette to do as well. Thank you.
Madam President, do they run free also? You don't have them all caged, correct?
We have like a 4x8 coop where they sleep. We have like a 16x8 or 10 run that's enclosed on all sides. And then we have like a little soft fence that's bigger, and we kind of
So they're not caged all the
change
time.
it, right?
Okay.
So
Thank you.
they're not like just all over the yard, but they
Okay.
have like grass area and then a specific closed area, and then also their coops.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question
Yeah.
also. Do you have, since you have an operation there, do you have issues with predation?
We don't. We always close the coop at night. I've never seen anything like raccoons or
Rats or coyote or
rats.
anything.
No, and I haven't seen coyotes or anything ever in our neighborhood. Hawks would be like the most. A couple of our neighbors have said like we make sure hawks don't get them, but I know no one in our neighborhood has had their chickens killed. But yeah, so far just keeping track of them, and we're outside a lot, so I think at night would be the biggest problem, but yeah.
How long have you had chickens?
Just over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, next.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Perez, and we live at 1600 Laramie Drive in Lafayette. My other little chicken over there won't come up. He's nervous. But these are my little chickens. And in the summertime, we spend in Mexico with my husband's family. And they have their own chickens. They have goats. They have all sorts of animals. And because of that, my kids would absolutely love to have their own chickens. We eat a lot of eggs. And with 4 kids, I spend a lot on eggs. I bake and use eggs for everything. And we have a fenced-in backyard, and I think it would be a great addition to our family. So, do you have anything to say? Do you want to say anything? No? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you were going to talk.
You gotta say your name. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Isla.
Her name is Isla. We live at 2713 Sleepy Hollow Drive. Go ahead and tell them why. Remember? Okay. And she said because she's homeschooled, she would like to have chickens because it would help us learn about farming and agriculture without having a farm because we don't want to farm. We don't want to farm. We just want to learn about agriculture and the life cycle and all of that. Okay, well, do you want to say anything yourself? Okay. She was all about it.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Austin Applegate. I live at 1305 Audubon Road in Lafayette. I'm a mom of 3. I have a 9-year-old and 2 8-year-old boys. They eat more than anybody I've ever met in my life. Eggs used to be so cheap, and I could just pop a couple in, make some scrambled eggs, and they would eat. Perfectly fine. They'd go off, do their own thing. Now it's become to the point that not only am I barely able to afford eggs, I'm barely able to afford chicken meat as well. And I was hoping that getting a chicken coop with them would also get them outside, off screens, having fun. That way I could teach them things outside of their bedrooms instead of their Legos and their toys and what's on a YouTube channel. I would like to be able to interact with my children outside, have fun with them, teach them some things that my grandparents would have known. Things that they learned growing up on the farms that they grew up on. And I was hoping that you guys would consider that this would be a wonderful impact to the children of this community as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to add one clarification that I forgot to add during the introduction, just because I do hear a lot of people talking about neighborhoods. One thing to be aware of, if the city does adopt this ordinance, it does not trump local homeowner association rules and regulations. So if you do live in a homeowner association that prohibits livestock or chickens or anything like that, even if the city adopts this ordinance, it will not trump that particular provision. So I wanted to make sure that that was clarified.
Thank you. Okay, other comments?
Hi. I'm Heather Spearing. I live at 658 Perrin Avenue. We've wanted chickens for a long time. I'm kind of parroting what other people have said. It would help with the cost of eggs, obviously. We've also got some very close friends that live in a different city where chickens are permitted in city limits, and they had neighbors across the street that had chickens, and not only did it not cause any difficulties, their kids went over with all their food scrap things, and they just had a lot less waste with that. And so I think that that's just a kind of secondary benefit to it that would be really nice. I also homeschool, and so I think it'd be really great for my kids to get to do that because, as with the previous lady, I don't want to own a farm. I don't plan on owning a farm. It's just like a little connection to that, so that'd be really great for all of us. And Augustine would really like baby chicks. Do you agree?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
My name's Megan Job, and I live at 508 Crockett Court.
And I have a lot of experience with different animals. I worked at an animal shelter in southern Indiana for several years, at least 4, and in all that time, we had 1 chicken come in. And I also used to raise chickens. I don't know if this has come up in the last couple meetings that you guys have had, but you can trim chickens' wings so that they cannot fly. So that would eliminate the need for all the high fences and things too. When I kept chickens, they had an area that was their own, but they were able, like, it wasn't like totally cordoned off entirely. It was obviously predator-proof. That's something that's gonna happen, whether you guys enforce it or not. If they don't predator-proof, you know, they're gonna have to. They'll find that out. It did not increase the amount of animals or predators that I saw in my yard ever. They are so much quieter than dogs, and there's really something magical about being able to go in your backyard and get food, whether that's a vegetable or whether that's an egg. In addition to that, I don't know if you guys have ever had farm fresh eggs, but the quality difference between what you can get at the store is wild. Now that I have raised chickens in my past, when I go and see store-bought eggs, like, I'm kind of a little grossed out because I know how old they are or how stressed the chickens are. And they're just really wonderful pets. They can learn all of the names that you call of their flock. My chickens were trained to come when I called them, so even if anyone did get out for whatever reason, if I just went, my chickens were right there, like, coming to me as fast as they could. And I really hope you guys will consider this, because I think it's really important that we reconnect with our food systems. And it's an amazing thing for gardeners, which I'm also an avid gardener, so chicken fertilizer is something that farmers in the areas are using, and it would be really great for the local gardeners here too.
Thank you.
I have a question for our city attorney. Are they allowed to ever let them out of the cage, or can they put them, under our ordinance, can they let them pre-run, or can they let them, they do have chicken runs. I've investigated this pretty good, so they do sell chicken runs, but they would have to be in that enclosed chicken run area if they let them out of their caged area, correct?
That is the way that it is written right now, because it is in town. We thought that was an important element.
Right.
I've not heard a lot of public comment indicating that that wouldn't be. So yes, I think that right now it's written as is. It would be, you have to have them in a pen if for whatever reason there was comments or, that's how it's written right now.
Okay, so they're either in their cage, their
Yeah,
manufactured cage,
they have to be
or-
in some type of containment
Okay.
system.
All right, thank you.
May I ask a couple of questions as well? I know we have other ordinances against butchering animals in the backyard, but my concern is, do we tie it to this one as well? So we're not butchering chickens in the backyard when they're not laying anymore.
When they're not laying anymore. I can certainly look at our other ordinances that we have to see if that is already covered and take a look at that.
Okay,
So-
and my second question is, now when people get a cat or a dog and they realize they don't want to do the work of raising it, they take it to the Humane Society. What happens when it's a chicken? Because some people, they see it and they're, this is great, and then they realize, well, I don't want to do all this work. Does the Humane Society take the chickens? Are they prepared for that?
I serve on the Humane Society board, and we have a chicken in there right
Oh,
now.
okay.
If you guys need a chicken, go to the Humane Society.
After we talk.
Yeah.
But they're prepared to intercept that?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are. We've had conversation.
Okay, thank you.
And a question on top of that, you brought it up. So, as a farmer, I understand chicken's laying period is about 3 years, okay? So then, again, would they, how are they gonna dispose of it? But my biggest fear is how are they gonna dispose of the manure? Because it has got so much ammonia in it. I mean, I know I hear them say they're using it on gardens and stuff. We never did, but that's, everybody's own thing. But chicken, it's very high in ammonia, and it's just, so they can just throw it in the garbage. Is that what we're saying now, or,
We do compost. Jerry, if you're going to be using chicken manure on your garden, you're gonna have to compost it. You can't put it directly.
I understand that. I understand that. I mean, believe me, I grew up on a farm. You can't put chicken manure on any plant or it'll kill it immediately. Yeah, I understand that. And, or your yard either. So you're saying that, so back to my question is, so did they dispose all of their chicken manure into the garbage?
I would have to look into whether or not that would be an issue for the sanitation
Yeah.
Department, so.
And would they throw their dead chickens in the garbage?
Yeah, and are they gonna throw their dead chickens? Because
And if-
once they stop laying, another factor that comes in, I've not heard mentioned, is chickens, and the lady that has them free run is a good idea, because their chicken lice is, it just comes with the chicken, okay? Now, it's not contactable with humans, it won't affect a human, but the idea of letting them run free on the ground is because they can then get the dirt and the dust and their feathers and so on. That's what maintains the lice in the chicken. And also is about the vaccination ratio of about who is properly going to take care. Are they going to have their shots? I mean, they have to be like any other farm animal, a dog, a cat. They have to be maintained medically. They can't, it's not like a slot machine. You put food in and an egg comes out the back. It don't work that way. You know, there's a lot of work into that. I mean, we raise everything from rabbits, chickens, hogs, milk cattle, 40 milk and 40 cattle a day. So I have a little bit of experience with them. My grandmother and mother had 125 of them. I hated gathering eggs, you know, but I really hated cleaning the chicken house. And, you know, they talk about chickens being quiet. Hens, every time they lay eggs, cluck. You know, you're talking about taking care, getting rid of the rooster. He's usually once or twice a day, but all the time they're in there is going to be clucking sounds from chickens, you know. But my concern is the disposal of the chicken. And obviously we used to just, you know, and every couple of years old, it was in the summer, it was time to call all the grandkids out and we kill the chickens and pick the feathers, and Grandma froze them or Mom froze them. But, you know, what are they going to do with them now? So
That was one of the concerns that I had,
Yeah.
because after we talk about using the chickens both for eggs and for meat, what do we do with what's inside of the chicken?
Right.
Do we drop it? Do we throw it into the sewer system and throw it in the garbage, or what?
Yeah.
I think we need to look into that.
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
I wasn't
Oh,
sure
sorry,
when I
ma'am.
could actually talk.
Yeah.
So a few of the things people.
Could you state your name, please?
Sorry, I'm
Right.
Magdalene Jackson. I live at 1807 Kiverdale, 47909.
Got it.
So there's a very, very robust, both local Indiana and nationwide community of chicken owners. My friend recently, in fact today, had a drake, a male duck that she needed to rehome. She's in Romney. And she just posted in one of the local groups, and someone was like, I would love a drake. And they're driving 48 minutes to pick up a drake. So there are people who will take older chickens that are no longer laying. They will say like, hey, I'll take it, I'll deal with it. People aren't going to be generally willy-nilly just like, okay, I'm gonna wring your neck and throw you in the trash. Also, as far as internal organs and stuff like that go, people buy store-bought chickens. They will take the gizzard, the heart, the liver, and they will throw that away. I mean, I'm not saying that's a good idea. Those are all very nutritious, but there is some element already of chicken waste. Responsible chicken owners will kind of have a better idea how to deal with that. But as far as dealing with older chickens, or if you have a chicken, you're like, I stepped in it, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is more work than I have, want, or need. People say, okay, I have a chicken. I don't want chickens anymore. I got my friend 13 chickens by that method because someone gave away 13 laying hens. My friend wanted hens, so we went and got them, and they're now living on her property in Romney. So with other animals, yeah, there's an aspect of rehoming. With dogs and cats too, but with chickens, because of the intrinsic value, a lot of people place on them being a food source, whether it's for the chicken itself or for the eggs. There's a very large community of people who know how to deal with that and do regularly as well, both in the area and in the surrounding counties. So that's just kind of what I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Travis. I live at 509 South First Street. I am so in favor of having chickens, not just like everyone's been saying for the eggs, but again for the meat. And we are so close to Butler's Meat. You're wondering about, well, where do we go to, do that? Well, maybe Butler's Meat, or you got R&D Market. They do butchering. They could probably take your chicken, your older chickens that you don't want anymore, and if you want them to be food sources, take them there. They can probably butcher them for you. There's that aspect of it, instead of, you're wondering what that is. We go there for all kinds of things that we can't get, that we can't grow ourselves, as far as pigs, because we're in the city. Someday we are looking at getting a couple of acres, considered part of Lafayette, but not in Lafayette. Like the outer skirts, like in Battleground or whatever, that's considered agriculture sections. Someday we'll hopefully do that, but that's what we're looking at, is hopefully to have both for the meat. And as far as the compost, we're planning on composting. There's ways to do it. If you look into how to compost, it's very easy to find out. You can use the eggshells. You can break them down and grind them up and put them in with coffee grinds and put them in your gardens. I mean, this is a big deal for us, to not have to spend so much money, 3 times the amount at the grocery store, just for a half, dozen eggs or 18 eggs. It's nearly $8 at Kroger's. Y'all call it Payless up here. It used to be for an 18 count, $3, $4. Now it's twice as much, 2 to 3 times as much, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, we need the stores to stop gouging us. To me, that's what it is they're gouging us. But in the meantime, having our own chickens, to being able to use their byproducts to grow our own gardens, and cut down on the money we're spending at the grocery store. It's very important to us. Also, as far as, like one lady said, helping teach her child about taking care of the animals. How do we take care of it? You're looking at my boyfriend's sister and her wife. They are growing chickens. They've been doing it for several years now down in at Clark's Hill. So, but they can get you in touch with vets that'll help take care of them, as far as all that goes. So it's, that way we can get our kid to learn how to do it and not have to worry about him spending so much time in front of his games of, Roblox is what he's big on.
I
Thank you so much for your
understand
comments.
what you're saying, but, you're talking about cost factors. I spent quite a bit of time Rural King and Tractor Supply, and if you look at the cages, they run anywhere from $350 to $800 almost, plus the chicken runs, plus the feed, plus the watering, all the equipment that goes along with it. Well, if you're up to that $500 stage, how many dozen eggs can you buy for $500, plus you got to work? Now, I understand that, but the offset, and if you only have 5 chickens, if it figures up right, your costs are still going, you're gonna be out of chickens. And then I also found out that we have a rooster ordinance. So when you go to like some of these places, you go in and pick up 5 chickens. They're not gender identified, okay? If you want gender identified, you have to order them, and they're more money. And they're sometimes anywhere from $7 to $8 a piece on a gender chicken. And of course, it depends what kind you want to lay the best egg. That's, whether you want Plymouth Rock or whatever it is. But I'm just saying is, where does this cost factor in the 7 chickens override what it costs to invest in it?
I think over a year, you'd probably save more.
No, not if they were $10 a dozen. you can't recoup $500, ma'am. I mean, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying is that I figured it all up, and it would take, to recover that would be about 3 years.
Okay, that depends on the egg layers.
Yeah, on that many chickens, 5. Now, if you had 25, we're talking.
Well, yeah, if you have more than that, but
Yeah, go ahead. I just had a question.
It's public hearing, so we want
Yeah.
to make sure
Yeah.
yeah.
people have
But
a chance.
I think, in the long run, you'd save more than going to the grocery store and cover over all those costs.
Okay.
Thank you.
While someone else is coming up, I have a quick question about bird flu and reporting and is it mandatory that they eliminate their birds when there's bird flu, and do they report, and who do they report to, and all those questions, are those all in an ordinance yet, or?
No, they're not in the
Okay.
ordinance, and I don't know if Sarah happens to know off the top of her head any reporting requirements for that type of stuff.
It's generally more on a massive scale, like a larger scale, obviously, in brooder houses and things like that. Truthfully, in this area right now, bird flu's a bigger concern with the Canadian geese. So, and the DNR handles that in that case. And then in domestic animals, it would be BOA, the Board of Animal Health, that handles those things. But the numbers are coming down with bird flu. I just talked to the guy at DNR about it 2 days ago because of some concerns with geese, but.
My name is Ernesto Valle, and I live on 1905 East, 430 South. I'm in the county, not the city limits, but it's still on residential zoning. There is restrictions and ordinance on chickens. Year and a half moved into that place. We have over 5.5 acres, and I find it ironic not being able to have chickens on that extension of land. And I have experience with birds and chickens, guineas, and things like that of that nature because I lived around in the country and I had all sorts of things, or animals. And of course, I forgot my notes, but I was rushing out to make it last time I was late. About the importance of having chickens for me and my family is not about saving money, because if you do the math correctly, yes, you're not saving money. But I got 3 kids, and on the experience that I have is that we didn't save money because they didn't eat as many chicks as I thought they were gonna be eating eggs. So the way I was looking at it is having to learn the empathy for animals, the chores and things like that. It's not so much about, it is a benefit having a fresh egg and you know where it's coming from. But it's more about teaching my kids that it's a living animal and have empathy, that they feel, they do certain things that they don't speak, but they still have a feeling in a sense. Another question is, I try to look up and get more information about these ordinance and stuff, about the butchering. Yes, I ran into chickens not laying eggs no more, or hens. I ate them. It's a lot of work. I don't like it, but I like the chickens. Somebody has to do it, and that was me. So, in a sense, it's a hard work. It's like I said, I'm not saving money, but I'm teaching my kids something, and I love doing it, gardening and doing all kinds of things. If I'm gonna be able to have chickens on my property, on that extension of land, and I'm willing to put the work into it and the expense, so be it. On butchering, that would be the concern. And then.
Finish up now, because you had your 3 minutes. Can you conclude?
So the last question was, where or who do I need to talk to go more deeply into the ordinance on my property, because I would like to have, 5.5 acres. Who do I need to talk to and see if there is something that I can do beyond just chickens?
You're in the county though.
Yeah, but it's a residential zoning, so I went to look, because I wanted to have goats. And they told me that it was not allowed on residential. So,
In the county?
yeah,
But it depends what the zoning is, because whether it be A or double A or some of those will
Yes.
allow you to.
AG and.
So if his is AW or A, then, if it falls into the agricultural, yes. And they do build houses and subdivisions on that property. But if it was one of the others, like if it's R1, then it's out.
Yes,
Okay.
and mine is
So-
R1.
Okay, so that pretty much takes him
Are
out
you
of it.
independent or part of a neighborhood?
Independent.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be APC then?
Yeah, it's APC. He
Yeah.
would have to go down to the APC and talk about changing the zoning that's
Yeah.
there. I sit on the area plan commission, so that would be the people you would need to talk to. At the county office building, they're in the basement. It's the area plan commission. And then you would have to change your R1 to probably an A or maybe AW. I'm not sure where. They will look on the map and tell you what, if at anything, you can change.
Okay, but then it will fall into the neighbors complaining about me having farm animals, and then there is a hearing and
Well,
so forth.
there'll be a hearing on your zoning change.
Yes.
And then the neighbors would then either say they're for it or against, okay? So you would have a hearing on changing your zoning.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do.
It's impossible, but I want chickens, so the bottom line is what I want, chickens.
That's what you need to do, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have more comments?
Hi, sorry I was late to this. Tim Pocat, same address as my wife over there. I just looked up chicken coop, $89. So the
I've got a
500, I
picture of
think,
everything they had there, and the cheapest one they have at Rural King
this is on Amazon.
is at $349.
Okay, Amazon, $89, I can show you if you want. So
But you
I
have
don't
to-
think we want to use that as a reason to not let people have
Yeah.
fresh eggs, so.
Sir, can we have
Yes.
your name and address, please?
Yeah, Tim Pocat, 2301 Bennett Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hi, good. I'm a provider at Riggs Community Clinic, and I see families all the time, every day, that are struggling, and they have to decide between, healthy food and non-healthy food. So just for me, I just love the idea of there being more eggs in the community and not fewer. And I know you can, parcel that out and split hairs over who's responsible enough to have them and who's not, and who has money for them and who doesn't. But ultimately, I believe in the people of this community. That's why I work for them and with them. And I believe that they can, just like they handle any other animal, responsible people can handle chickens. And they can benefit from teaching their children about chickens and from having the food. I'm telling you, they pick chips and these carbs and things, and it's like, oh, if they could just go home to a few fresh eggs. That would make such a difference in their overall health. So I'm really hoping that you guys take this obviously seriously and that you vote yes to allow this for the people of Lafayette. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have large aisles.
Hi, my name is Colleen Duffy, and this is my daughter. What's your name?
Marianne.
Yeah, we live at 2309 Bennett Road. Those are my neighbors. I used to live over in West Lafayette where we were allowed to have chickens, and I can attest to the fact that I've had neighbors that had chickens, and I didn't know they even existed until I was visiting them. They're very quiet, and they really are more like pets, but pets that you don't have to, like we've had a dog, but we aren't able to have dogs anymore or cats because we discovered allergies. And so when she heard that we might be able to have chickens, she was so excited because we could have a pet. She has who do you have here?
Haley.
And I do know that dogs and cats are pretty expensive and their waste is not recyclable. And we do like gardening. So the idea of having a chicken where we can have, that added to our compost as a natural fertilizer is very appealing I'm not going to argue about the cost effective. Depends on whether you want a high end one or a low end or whatever. For us, it would be a lot more than just the cost of eggs, although organic eggs are pretty expensive, getting free range ones over time. But the nutritional benefits of them are, you can't even argue it. It's so great. But we really, really hope that you guys will, you'll be encouraged and consider this and pass this ordinance. It would be a great benefit, I think, to everyone in the community. I have 8 children. She is the youngest of 8. And we go through a lot of eggs in our house. So with only 5 hens, may not be enough to supply all of our stuff. But I think the more eggs we have in the community, it might do something for the pricing for the others. If it's supply and demand and more people are supplying, maybe that could do something. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Did you have anything you wanted to say? Are you sure? Okay, thank you.
You can talk to us, we don't fight.
Good afternoon. Can y'all hear me okay? That's wonderful. So my name is Vanessa Pacheco. I live in the Columbian Park neighborhood, 20 South, 26th. And I'm speaking in support along with some others as a neighbor with no intention of ever raising chickens, right? So I think being here was really because of my really rooted understanding living here for 11 years that increasing our biodiversity makes so much possible civically. I do run a garden as a neighbor, and I represent so many people, so many other neighbors that I live around that really are excited about the possibilities that emerge here, and almost none of whom have intentions of raising chickens. But what they do recognize is that this opens up deep collaboration in terms of shared composting, number one, and shared understanding around how we can urge each other towards compliance in really gentle ways. And so, I see so many assets here, not just composting, not just sharing eggs. I know so many people in West Lafayette who sometimes get overwhelmed with their amount. They love raising chickens, but they're excited to be able to share them. I currently collect cartons while I can still afford eggs to share with those people so that they can distribute more easily. And so we have a system that works with the small amount of people in our community in West Lafayette who are able to share, right? And I also recognize that there's so many neighbors who are worried about what could happen if they don't have an intention of raising a chicken, but they know that their neighbors might. They're worried about compliance. They're worried about all the things that can happen. But I think because I've had so many examples, and I'll just give one. So for a really long time, I ran a food pantry in this community, and that meant that I was working with food frequently that was at the very end of its life cycle. So that means so many people didn't want it at the grocery store. So many people didn't want it in another place. Maybe they bought it, they didn't want it in their home. But I was the step before the trash for years, for a very long time. And the amount of food waste that we could have committed if I didn't intentionally try to work with interns who raise chickens themselves, we would be creating another problem on our way to solving the deep and real problem, I'm sure you're aware, that exists with poverty in this community, right? So trying to get people access to food, I didn't also want to be the line between being the dumping ground for people's food. And ultimately, I didn't have to be because I worked with people who raise chickens. Unfortunately, over time, because I would frequently praise how amazing it is to live in Lafayette, a lot of those people would move to Lafayette. And then what happens? I then lose my source. And so the last thing I'll say is that y'all talked about, or some folks talked about, chickens are not slot machines, right? And what I think is really critical is that this is an opportunity for people, as a civic educator, this is an opportunity for people to really have a tangible experience, because that is how people learn. But it's also a way that we encourage deep connection. So not letting this ordinance be the last time we talk about chickens. Clearly, people brought their kids here to have a deep civic experience. And this won't be the last time if we really lean into this opportunity as a way for people to learn how to be self-sufficient in the ways they want to be.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Anthony Quack.
I live at 2979 Cajun Court. I was at the first meeting and listened to this one. I think there's one core tenant that has not been brought up. In order for us to be a free people and a free nation, we have to be able to control things like where we get our food. We can't rely on others for our sustenance. And then honestly, that's pretty much all I gotta say. It goes well beyond, although it's a good idea, teach the kids and all that, but this is about personal freedom, self-reliance. This is what made our country great and will continue to make it great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to make comment? Going once? Going twice? Okay, here we go.
Sorry, I was working up the courage to come up here because I'm not used to talking in front of people. My name is Mari Romero. I live on 2432 Euclid Avenue. I had planned to come to this town hall meeting since I saw it pop up in like Facebook New. And this post popped up about what one chicken can do. It can debug your yard. It can break pest cycles on a fruit tree in an hour. It can help turn compost. It can help till your soil. I mean, the list goes on, right? But also we talked about, you know, how are we going to dispose of chickens? What are we going to do about vaccinating them? How do we raise chickens? There are resources in our community already that can help us with those questions. Everything is a learning curve. I'm starting a garden for the second year. I didn't know how to plant a garden. Like, everything takes time to learn, but we have an amazing resource in the community called Purdue Extension. Youth 4-H, they know how to dispose of chickens, and they can teach our community. They know what their vaccination looks like. They know how to properly raise chicken and other livestock. So I understand there are concerns, but there are also resources in our community, and that encourages you to be involved as well. Finally, I'm just going to say there's been some conversations about the benefits to children in our community. Mental health has been a topic of concern in youth, and there's so much research that backs up the benefits of being outside, just being outside, but also of engaging with animals. And if your children maybe don't want to go outside, maybe if you have a chicken or two, then they will. And that will just do so much for the youth in our community. So, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else want to comment?
He wants to talk, he's really nervous.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
here he comes.
I'm Alexander Perez. I live at 1600 Laramie Drive. I think having chickens will be a good idea for like kids to learn about like taking care of them, like responsibility. Because as my mom mentioned before, we spend like a month in Mexico and my grandma has chickens. Like it taught me a lot, like how to take care of them, like feed them and stuff. That's all I really have to say.
Okay, good job. Okay. Anyone else for public comment? Anybody going once?
Madam President, I just want to
Okay.
say, thank you all for coming out and not being afraid to stand up and say what you feel. As I said at the last meeting, this is what your government is all about. Getting involved in something that you feel strongly about, getting the message out, getting public discourse, pro and con, on an issue, and then letting the chips fall where they may. But that's what we're here for. We don't want anybody, any of our citizens to ever feel like they cannot come to us and ask for something within a reasonable amount of time. And I want to thank Christine because when she asked me to meet with them, I told her exactly what she would have to do in order to get things on an orderly system and get it before the public. She did a lot of the work, and I really appreciate everything that she did. I want to thank Jackie for the work that she and her assistant city attorney did in writing this ordinance. And we've had wonderful public input, and I thank you all for coming forward and taking your time to do that, because that's what it's all about. And we will see what happens going forward.
Do you have any idea when we may know that this, how the city council's gonna go? I mean, can you give us any idea of timeline?
Well, this is the second public hearing that we have conducted. It is a matter of whether or not a city council member wants to come forward and officially sponsor the ordinance, and when they file that with the clerk's office to get that going, it would require 2 city council meetings for approval.
And those are once a month?
They're once a month, yes, they're once a month. We already took, May has already taken place, so the next city council meeting is in June.
So we're looking probably at August at the earliest possible?
At the absolute earliest, yes.
Okay.
Because there's going to be some tweaking that's going to have to go to this proposed ordinance anyway, which, you know, is going to take a little back and forth.
But real quick, I know this is new,
I
but I
know.
do want to thank all the parents who have brought their children here today.
Absolutely.
Like, I absolutely love seeing young people being engaged civically. It is so heartwarming to see that there are people, and the ones that came up and spoke, even if it was just a few words, that is absolutely amazing. I encourage you to continue with your civic engagement or your entire life. We need more people engaged civically, and so thank you for bringing your children and your families out here today. It is meaningful.
I'd just like to apologize if I maybe hurt somebody's feelings or something, but I have a lot of questions, because being a farm boy, animals were first. That was our living. That's how we made our living. And so if I was offensive, I'm sorry, but I do look out for the animals. I'm sorry. But
This is an opportunity for us to figure this out, because I grew up in Chicago. The only thing I know about chickens is on the plate.
You can buy it at the store.
We need to find out exactly what we're looking into here, so that we can come up with, so we can take this citizen input and turn it into an effective public policy on this issue.
Yes.
That's our job. That's how we do it.
I think the most difficult thing too is, obviously everyone here tonight is passionate about it, and you would be responsible owners. We have to also consider just as many who would not be. So trying to find that's why we're questioning. We've got to make sure we find a balance in an ordinance that covers both. People who will be responsible and people who will not be, just like with cats or dogs or any other law.
Well, and if people do not house chickens properly, they will not have chickens for a long time. Because we have hawks, we have turkey vultures, we have raccoons. I've seen deer on South 24th Street. So I mean, you talk about vermin being in, they're here eating our birdseed. I'm a birdseed person too,
Right.
I just can't see that chickens are gonna.
But I think that's why it was important to hear all those perspectives tonight. Yeah.
I have a question. I know West Lafayette obviously has been doing this a long time, and I know that these are all valid questions, but how much have you guys communicated with them on like how they deal with, because I never thought about, we compost and we want chickens, but I never thought about like the rest of the chicken poo and all that. Like what is, like if you talk.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
Like,
Yes, ma'am.
people put their dog poop in the trash.
Exactly,
People
that's what I'm
put their cat litter in the trash. That is what the trash service is for, is to take these things away. Organic material goes in the trash every single day. That's what chicken poop is. Obviously, you're gonna fill a bigger bag than a 13-gallon kitchen trash bag when you go to clean out your coop, but there's a lot of things that go into the trash, and I don't think that that's something that should derail this ordinance. I don't think it's going to. I think it's just something that maybe people don't think about because they haven't had, animals outside of dogs and cats. But every animal, every human produces waste. and it all goes in the trash, and our lovely trash men and the guys and women that work for our trash service take care of that every single day. So I don't think that should be a point of contention, in my opinion, and it's no different than people having to pick up their dog's poop when they go for a walk. It goes right in the trash bin, so.
I think it kind of breaks down in the coop.
Okay, well, thank you.
It does. It turns into, not soil, but it turns into
Like it breaks down.
another
in the
material
winter, you
very
don't have to
quickly,
clean it as
because
often,
the
because it's
nitrogen in it is very hot, so it happens very quickly.
If I may, there was a comment earlier about what we would do with like the innards of a chicken. I have a dog. He is pretty much a garbage disposal. I give him chicken gizzards, chicken liver, things like that. I even give him the turkey neck at Thanksgiving. So it wouldn't necessarily, like if you have dogs or cats, organic meat for them is fantastic. So that might actually help reduce the possible waste.
And the bones on top of that, my cousin lives the next county over. She has chickens. We purchase chicken meat from Gordon Food Service for my 3 large dogs, and we boil it off the bone. Well, what do I do with the bones? Chicken bones go right out to my cousin, and she feeds them right back to her chickens. There is a lot less waste than you can imagine there being. And bone broth, yeah.
One of the healthiest.
Well, thank you all very much for taking your time to come and speak about this ordinance. We really appreciate it. I've learned a lot.
I have never seen so many children in this place.